So we all know there's a ton of controversy regarding Nintendo. I mean, from their $80 to $90 games, and of course the price of the Nintendo Switch 2, which I genuinely thought it was going to be a whole lot more expensive. Honestly, the 450, it is a little up there, but I was like, okay, like I genuinely thought they're gonna try to hit us with the $600 price point for the Switch 2, and I mean, shit, with the tariffs going on right now, I can see it getting up there, at least to five, maybe even 550. I don't know. We won't know until they announce something. But like I said, I can't understand, the outrage. I mean, shit, I work too. I want to have an affordable console as well to play. I mean, I have my Switch. This is the Eevee Let's Go Pikachu Let's Go Eevee bundle. I bought it. Like, yeah, big Pokemon person as well. Like I've always bought every Pokemon game and all that as well. And I'm not trying to be like any kind of, I'm not trying to glaze Nintendo, I'm not trying to like, curdle the balls or anything like that. But it's just like, it's definitely a problem. Like I agree with a lot of things that people are saying. I feel like the price point is definitely insane. For them to just up the price like this is crazy. And I genuinely feel like other developers, other gaming companies are going to follow suit with Nintendo upping the price for everything. Now, I some people have talked about it. Of course, inflation, that's definitely a big thing here, and again the tariffs that are being placed and all that. That all plays a factor in prices and everything. But there is an article that I want to look at. One of the Nintendo CEOs talking, or I guess trying to justify the $80 price point for their Switch games. So Doug Bowser, Nintendo of America's president, had a bit of a interview with Washington Post, and this is what he had to say. First of all, he states the Donkey Kong Bonanza remains at the standard retail price of premium games of $70. What you see right there is variable pricing. Bowser told the Washington Post, "We will look at each game, really look at the development that's gone into the game, the breadth and the depth of the game, if you will, the durability over time, and repeatability of gameplay experiences, all these factors, and there's many more that go into consideration of what the price point for the game." So I think you can anticipate that there would be a variable pricing, and we haven't set a benchmark. That's interesting. I think it's less about representing the industry. This is really about Nintendo deciding the right thing to do for its product, or what the pricing should be for its product overall. Even in previous generations, Tears of the Kingdom in 2023 was their first $70 game. Which, don't get me wrong, Tears of the Kingdom was great, but I just the hardware, like, how do you justify the $70 price point when the hardware was horrible? Even with Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, like there was so many frame rate drops, there was so much stuff, that the Switch, my Switch couldn't keep up. It really couldn't keep up, and I don't know, like I'm a Pokemon fan, so I bought it because I love Pokemon, but this was the first time I was like, oh, maybe I did wrong and continuing to buy these games when it's like not performing to industry standards. And I think he's talking about like they're trying to like he's trying to justify why their games are going to cost as much because of the replayability. Again, with Mario Kart World, it's going to be a big open world for you to do so many things, but it's just like I understand that can take you so far, but it's just like I don't know. I feel like even with the Switch 2 right now, I mean, I won't know until I actually get out there and play the Switch 2 in person. I am going to an LA event, guys. We're going to be trying that out, and I guess I'm going to be able to really get my hands on it. But I really feel like they're barely like hitting the bare minimum of what, the Switch could have been with all these other games. And now they're just trying to up the price because they got a better system now or something. It's just, I don't know. It's weird. I can't speak for other games that might be released by other publishers or platforms. It's more than what we think is right for our content. What is the right value for the consumer as they come into our platform? Damn, that is crazy. And then here we go. What I will say that we'll continue to observe consumers and how they engage and enter into the platform at various levels to try to really understand what the future may look. Here's the point: we have an install base for the Switch for 150 million plus units. They'll probably announce more on May 8th when we have our next earnings call. We want to keep those players engaged. Not all of them may be ready to jump into the Switch 2, hopefully with time and with the right games, it'll be compelling for them to want to come to the Switch 2. There's a group of consumers that will be absolutely ready on day one to come on the platform. He said. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I think one of the biggest things is like Elden Ring and the Dusk Bloods game from Software that they're going to be getting. They're getting some cool exclusives that could possibly entice some people to come in. But I mean, if you're looking at the overall consumer, I mean, especially how expensive it is. Like I don't know, it's gonna be tough. I mean, I've seen a lot of valid points. Like it's just gonna be tough to be like I guess we won't know until the games come out. People play them. We watch some playthroughs. Of some of the games. If it's really true that all these games have a lot of value to it, because it seems like they're not budging. It seems like once they figure out the pricing with the tariffs and everything, they're going to be very firm on those pricing with those $80-$90 games, and however more the Switch 2 is going to increase with the tariffs. So I mean the president of America for Nintendo is saying like he's firm. They have players who are going to buy this, and those of you who are not, you guys are broke. You're broke, and just save your money and buy it when you're ready. I mean, the lineup of games was cool. What they announced, there was some good variety, but I don't think it was nothing like too like, damn, this is why I'm getting a Switch 2. Mario Kart World. The Donkey Kong Bonanza seems really cool. I do like Donkey Kong, and like this definitely seems like something fun, but like it wasn't something to where it's like, oh yeah, I am absolutely getting the Switch 2 because of these games. I mean, Dusk Bloods was definitely something interesting. I want to pick it up, definitely try it out. Even though I suck at Souls games, that's definitely something cool. But it's just like I don't know. This kind of feels a little weird to how he said it, and it seems like they're standing very, very firm on these prices. So what are your thoughts, guys, after seeing what the Nintendo of America's president had to say in regards to his reasoning with keeping, the prices up? It's definitely a really tough thing. Again, I'm not trying to like glaze Nintendo. I'm not trying to be a Nintendo defender. It's definitely just hard. I feel like they're going to be very firm on this, and we're either just going to have to wait for a sale or something. I don't think I saw the live streams. I posted those videos. You guys saw like people were saying drop the prices, but I don't know. Maybe if we do boycott, Nintendo, they might drop the prices, but who knows? I will be going to LA with my wife. We're gonna be, trying out the Switch 2, hands on, and I really want to like try to do a deep dive with the limited amount of time that I have there. Play all the games, try all the features, see what's going on. I really want to see if the Switch 2 alone is gonna be worth picking up. So if you guys have any questions, anything in particular you guys want to see in regards to that, let me know, and I will look into it. I'll be doing a whole vlog. We're gonna be recording everything, trying to check out again as much as we can with the time that we have with the Switch 2 there. So again, I'm very excited for that because I've never been invited or never been able to go to events like this. So this is something really, really dope, and I want to give you guys all the best information, all the best stuff that I can while I'm up there. So again, I don't know, Nintendo. I kind of felt like this is kind of a little weird for the president to say. It's a little iffy. I don't know. Let me know your thoughts, guys, and I will see you hopefully in the next vlog with more Nintendo Switch 2 information.